friendship, our compassion, and our love. My dad was the most open-minded, fair-minded, well-balanced, liberal thinker I have ever and will ever know. And about my father's integrity, this is the one characteristic about him that makes me most proud. I'm just going to take care of this frog in my throat. Why I'm so proud of him. My father possessed the highest morality of any human being I have ever met. So high that when a very dear friend of mine and I discussed participating in a morally questionable activity in high school, my father immediately popped into mind. I told this friend that my father's morality is higher than God's. And in that specific circumstance, we allowed his morality to dictate our course of action. And that was the best and morally correct action to take. I now know that my father's morality was not higher than God's, but rather equal to God's. And at this point, I'd like to invite John to say a few more words.
Thank you. This time I'm going to be reading a letter from John's cousin Sam, written specifically for this occasion. John's life has impacted so many of us with his honesty, integrity, mannerisms, and successes while being a true gentleman. John has influenced us all. John saw the wisdom of those that came before us. He loved to share his memories and our treasured family history. As I got older and wiser, I appreciated John's stories more and more. I have a lot of wonderful older cousins who are like brothers to me, and we share fondness, love, and respect for one another. As I become older, a father, and a provider, I grew to appreciate each story more and more, and began to realize that each conveyed a valuable life lesson. John was a technical thinker, self-taught, and attended a very selective and prestigious graduate school, MIT Sloan. He knew the value of proper work-life balance. I have tremendous respect for my cousin John, who, like my father, worked at a fabulous and important job. He was always available to help when needed. My uncles were like gods. I cherished and hung on to their every word. My cousins were great leaders who shared their wisdom with each other. The Cardus family was growing, and as we grew older, Johnny was always happy to make a speech at family gatherings. The speeches were very special, but only some of us really appreciate them. Today it's hard to imagine my own mom grew up before the invention of the ballpoint pen, and how many of us remember the telephone party line. During those times, simplistic things gave great happiness and joy. I remember crowds at Judeau's and fantastic Christmas parties that included St. Elmo with his Polaroid camera, and who could forget maple walnut ice cream. Those things only happened because people in our family wanted the best for everyone. We always seemed to work together, support each other, and improve each other's lives. Some may remember my mom saying, if you can't get what you want, take second best and be happy. John knew this and kept his life full of contentment and happiness. My personal belief system drove me to fill my head with technical skills and interests. I strived to be recognized and tried to impress myself and family. Upon some medical life-changing experiences where God gave me grace, I relearned our family's legacy. The more I listened to John's stories, the more I enjoyed myself and appreciated my family. When I reflected upon the past, I appreciated more and more each day the richness of our family experience and the love we all shared. John mastered excellence in his personal life and work relationships. A great example for all of us, and a man who sometimes sought out for guidance and support. I found in talking with Andrew that many of John's mannerisms and traits pass on to him. Sometimes when I talk to Andrew, I think I'm talking with John. But Andrew took John's best and added his own unique twists. I always enjoy listening and talking with Andrew, or visit John. I will always remember John's discussions and speeches. Many of you may remember, enjoy, and appreciate them. I got them, cherished them, and I know some of you did as well. Several of these stories helped us all gain insight and a better understanding of the times that happened before we were born. John was my mother and father's ring bearer at their wedding. My mother, during the big one, World War II, chipped in and was not a Rosie the Riveter, but babysat John and Mary and Charlotte too, enabling Aunt Margaret to go to work. Some may have noticed that there was a great fondness between my mother, John, Mary, and Charlotte. I think that my mom learned how to parent on little John, and later she used those skills to parent me. This was a time when food was rationed and you were limited on goods like bananas. Some of you may remember the banana stories, but for those that don't, I will repeat it. During the war, you couldn't just go out and buy rationed food unless you had the proper coupons. Bananas were only available seasonally, and at times, even with the rationing coupons, they were not available. When available, as I understand it, you were only allowed one banana per family. John's family would take a single banana, cut it in half, and split it amongst the whole family. The other half was used the next day, and again divided between the family. Well, Mary liked to keep the banana peels, saving them to rub all over her cheeks and under her nose. One day my mother asked her why, and Mary's response was, "Do you like the smell of bananas?" How fortunate are we to live in a time where we have bananas all year long. Imagine just how much Mary must have gone. Bananas for bananas. She loved them so much. She just made them all over her face. Well, Cousin Johnny was an awesome father, an awesome cousin, and one of the smartest and gentlest people in our family. This is evident knowing Pat, Charles, Andrew, and John's grandchildren. We all need to take a good look at our own history and appreciate our great family. Each one of us has developed in our own way, and I'm so blessed that my belief systems were influenced by the greatest relationships our family offered. Johnny, I love you, and I will always remember you and your wonderful family. Cousin John, I thank you. You'll always stay in my heart and mind as one of my childhood gods and giants in my life. I love you, Cousin Sam.
Thank you, John. And thank you, Sam, for writing that. Of course, Sam's in Florida, so he couldn't be here, but I asked him if he would write something for my dad, and he did. What a wonderful thing it was. Along the lines of having such a wonderful family, my friend Pete couldn't be here, but I want to read something that he wrote actually a long time ago when my Aunt Mary passed away, and it just speaks to our family. I've always admired you and your family for the closeness that you share. It is rare to see the kind of devotion to one another that I have seen in you and your relatives. And it gives us all something to aspire to. Cece and I offer our condolences to you and your family, and you will remain in our thoughts. Everyone who knew my dad knew that he was an incredibly energetic man, made friends easily, and was handsome to boot. Every doctor I took him to couldn't believe his age, and most told him he looked 20 to 30 years younger than his birth date indicated. And there was one doctor who even questioned if he had picked up the wrong chart when he entered the room. I would like to spend a little time to introduce my children because they are also part of my dad's legacy. Evan, the oldest, graduated from Mass Bay with the highest grade point average of all his classmates in the business program. I hope I'm not embarrassing him too much. He's moving on to Bentley University as a junior and has been awarded the Presidential Scholarship for Academic Excellence. Brandon and Jessica are my younger children, full of energy, curiosity, love, and creativity. Brandon is a star athlete, as fast or faster than anyone in his grade, and the best flag football player I have ever known. In one game, he made 5 interceptions and scored 3 touchdowns. Pretty amazing stuff. And Jessica, also quite an athlete. She played football for me for 1 season and was the best center on her team. But she didn't like football too much. She's much more into gymnastics and loves expressing herself creatively through art. She is going to be a wonderful artist one day if she chooses. just like her Aunt Sally. So these are my kids, my dad's legacy. Now, every day is not peaches and cream with them, but I do cherish them all. And I can't wait to see how their lives unfold. You all have wonderful futures ahead for you. So now what I would like to do is to offer anyone else an opportunity to come up and say some words about my father. I know I have someone very special who would like to say a few words from the town of Wayland. So if you would like to come up now, and then whoever else would like to say some things after, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy. I volunteered to say something about the last organization in Wayland that John worked on officially, and that's the Wayland Board of Historical Commission, of which I'm a member. I never knew I had something in common with John. I graduated from high school when I was 16 too. I never knew that about him. John joined us for one term, and we had to talk him into it, because I knew he had a lot of experience in Wayland boards over the years, 50 years to be exact. And he agreed that he would come on and serve a term. So I was always amazed at him, because no matter what subject came up within the purview of the Historical Commission, John could talk about it. So we all learned to appreciate him very much. And when his term ended, we had a nice little going away party. Pat was there too, and Andy was there, I think. And so we wished him well, and we sent him off into retirement. And I think he sold the house the next year, didn't you? Yeah, the next year, Pat. And I never heard from him again until I heard he had passed away. So I really appreciated knowing John. And the whole time, before I knew he was a Syrian, I kept looking at him and thinking, he reminds me of my grandfather somehow. And then I found out that his great-grandfather, I think, came from Syria. And all four of my grandparents came from Lebanon. So we had something in common there too. So I think the family has done a wonderful job of memorializing him. And I'm happy to have met Charlotte and Andy and all the rest of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to come up and say?
Thank you. Hey, Joe. Hi, my name is Bob Gamble, and that's my cousin Johnny, my oldest cousin. And I didn't want him to go anywhere, because I'm the second oldest. John, you can't go, you can't go. But what I'd like to talk about John is something that's dear to my heart, and I think a lot of you here, and that's family. John was all about family, and he got a lot of that from the Dyers, Carduces, the Gambles, and the Ayubs, all the cousins. And my fondest memories of John is growing up in the South End. John's dad, Uncle Charlie, and my grandmother were brother and sister. And we lived in the South End, and my grandmother, right there, she had 6 people living in a 2-room apartment. And Uncle Charlie, he made it big. He moved out to the country. He moved to Watertown. Wow, he must have a lot of money, that guy. But one thing that Uncle Charlie did, and I think it instilled it in all his siblings, all his children, his family. And the way he did that was by action. And he actually, every Sunday, he would come down to Mike Davis with the whole family, and all my cousins were there, and everyone would bring a meal. Nobody had any money except Uncle Charlie. He had the money. Right, Charlotte? That's a standing joke. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Nobody had anything. We had injera, we had kibbeh, whatever was around, we'd eat it. Leftovers, we would eat leftovers. Or we would eat together. That was the important thing. So, what do we do for our vacations? Did we go separate ways? No. We went on a long vacation. We packed up the cars. I think there was 3 cars, maybe 4. Nobody had a car back then those days. We went to Cape Cod. He said, oh boy, we went to Cape Cod. You people been to Cape Cod? Anybody been to Cape Cod? We went to the canal. And we have a picnic out there with our name on it. A picnic table. That's where we went to the canal. We just watched whatever went by. There was no houses to go to, nothing. You just went on a picnic, enjoyed yourself. And great food, great people, great times. So everybody got tired of the Cape, we went to Groton. Groton's a little place out in Western Mass. Pack up the cars, everybody bring their food. This one guy, I won't name him, he'd take the watermelon, put it in the stream. That's how we kept our watermelon. What was his name? Lewis, Alan Lewis, yes. Great man, great man.